Hello everybody, welcome into our latest live video. Today it is the 13th of April. Is that not turning off? It is the 13th of April 2025. It's Sunday. My name is Kerry Holzman and today we've got another really inexpensive mini PC to showcase to you. This one is normally $200. They've got a $70 off coupon at Amazon along with a 9% additional promo code, bringing us down to anywhere between $112 and $113. And it's very, very similar as an alternative to the GMK Tech G3. That's around $130, $140. However, there are some differences that you may say are better on this one, or you might say the differences are better on this one. It's a tough call, and it's really an individual decision for each of you to make for yourselves. But we've already gone over the GMK Tech G3. This unit is a bit smaller, and I want to say we had initially planned for a different video today. And the reason it switched, and I apologize for any confusion, is Amazon literally just dropped this off. So at the drop of a hat, I asked Mara if she could just change everything. Replace the thumbnail, the title, the description. She did all that 5 minutes ago. And the original content we were going to film for today will be later on this week. Now, of course, tomorrow we do our members only Mondays live videos. So for all of our friends in green, we'll look forward hopefully to seeing you join us in our live chat during our members only videos. Tomorrow at the same time, 1 o'clock is when we start Phoenix time. Tuesday, our good friend Doug Betts will be joining us virtually, and we're going to hang out, do Q&A, share a little tales from the trenches and tips, and of course, hopefully interact with you guys. Wednesday, I'm not sure. Thursday, I'm not sure. And then Friday, that may end up being the day we come back to the original content for today, but it kind of depends how this week goes. This was the last thing I ordered for the channel from Amazon for on-camera use. I've got some other stuff coming for the studio, a big shelf I'm talking about putting behind me. That should be here at the end of next week. And so we are making progress behind the scenes as well. So you can expect some more little changes. It's just me, so the changes aren't going to be massive overnight, but you'll start noticing little changes here and there as we start to get things organized and set up over here. Now, hello everybody. Say a shout out to everyone joining us here in the chat at this last minute video. John Williams saying hello. There's our friend Buster. That's Peter Laycock. He contributes 10 pounds in Super Chat. And he says hello, Kerry and Mara and everyone in the chat. All the best from Bonnie, Scotland, where the temperature in Edinburgh is 47 degrees Fahrenheit, 8.3 degrees Celsius. Right on. Thank you, Buster. Good to see you, my friend. Andy Kane saying hello along with Scott and Ben Laird. Ben is also in Scotland, Ben Laird. Mark Gaines joining us from Northern Ireland says hello, as does Peter Retired, and Dustin Fuller, Phil Stodd, Brad Ravel, Gary Bickle, Doman 2000. There's also Lifetime Memories Digitizing. And Martin Postema saying hello. Charlie Purdy joins us in the chat. I also see Dan Nilsson and Zoff Zooster saying hello from Wisconsin. All right, well, welcome in everybody. And again, I appreciate the fact that you've been available in the last minute to join me today. As I mentioned, Amazon literally just dropped this off 15 minutes ago. So unfortunately, I did not know they had a time window, and it could have arrived hours from now. The reasoning is this is on sale. I don't know how long this is going to be on sale for. So if I wait until the first available day, which isn't Monday and it isn't Tuesday, the next available day I have to do this will be Wednesday, and the sale could be over by then. That's why I prioritized putting this up front, and there was a last-minute change. I have no control over what the inventory levels are, how many people are buying them, how many are left, when the sale price goes off, when the promo code is removed. I have no idea. But what I can show you is what the Amazon page looks like and what we're supposed to have in this box. Then we'll do the live unboxing and we'll see if everything matches, and we'll fire it up. And listen, this thing is Windows 11 compliant and has a full warranty. So forget about the old Windows 10 computers now. For a little over $100, you get a brand new computer that'll probably run circles around whatever you're using now if it's that old. And I know it's hard to really picture how fast something so little can be. But keep an open mind, and when skeptical, if you order from Amazon and you don't like it, you can always send it back for a full refund within 30 days. Keep that in mind. So all the risk is removed. Also, if you have a need for a computer as some kind of a media player, or a little project box or something for the kids or for parents or for friends that just aren't techie people. They want to get online, they want to do things people do. They want to check email, they want to pay their bills, they want to go to YouTube. It's going to do all that super easy. It's nothing for this. Nothing. So despite it being a budget end PC, today's budget PCs are as fast as or faster than mid-range PCs from just a few years ago. And I'm going to show that to you. Now, if you're going to compare them to modern day mid-range, that's a different comparison. But if you compare them to yesteryear's mid-range, and for the price, they really pack a punch. Now, I don't recommend this at the $200 price. We would not be here talking about it because I think you can do better at that price point than this. But the price point where this is at today, I don't think you can do better. I wouldn't recommend anything that I'm aware of under this price point. This kind of stands alone temporarily with these discounts. So let's take a look at what this is in detail. So I'm going to open up my below the video here on YouTube, there are show notes. And if you go to those show notes, which is what I have to do myself right now, Mara will have placed the links for this in there so you guys can see it. And so I can see it too, by the way, because I don't have it up yet. With everything being last minute, I didn't have as much time to prep. So we're going to just bring up the video, click down below where it shows us how many people are watching. There's a button that says a word more that's bolded. Click on more. And then one of the first things you're going to see here, the AceMagician. And then once that comes up, I can now flip this over to window capture. Right, like so. That should give us the page. Now you see it's $199. And where did the $70 off go? We still have the 9% promo code here. Okay, this is your 9%. Is anybody seeing, if you click on the link, let me know, because I have no control over, they don't really disclose, as far as I can tell, how long the coupon codes are available. You might have to be an Amazon Prime member to get the $70 off promo code. So let's find out from you guys if any of you see that $70 off coupon. Sometimes Amazon offers discounted prices to Prime members, and sometimes our timing is just really bad where we get the product, and as soon as we get the product, the coupon code goes away. That was my hesitation in ordering this to review it for you guys, or at least give you an introduction to it, was that I have no control over the pricing discounts. They're there and they're gone. And then they always come back, and I never know when, but usually within a matter of days or a week, they usually come back or they sell out. There's all of the stuff I'm battling against when doing videos this way without coordinating with the manufacturer. We bought this. Manufacturer is not working with us and has no idea that we're doing it. And nor do we intend to tell them. This is for you. It's not for them. Jared said $70 off is a big discount these days. Yeah, for sure. Scott said this is a nice unit. I bought one last fall. It works very nice for the price and the size. Yeah, let's make no mistake or any illusion that this machine is not new to the market. It's been on the market, and that might be why the price has been discounted. James Steinbrecher said it is no longer on sale according to my Prime account. Well, here's what we can do, because I have a feeling it's going to go back on sale. There's no way they would have known we were doing this. At this 9% off, I'm not quite sure that's enough discount. That's only about, let's just round it to 10%. That's $20 off. So you're looking at about 180 bucks. That's a far cry from 111, 112. I think we paid 112 for it. But if we copy the link up here, let's just take the whole thing, Control-C that, open a new browser window and type in camel, camel, camel. We can see the pricing history of the unit. We'll just paste our link in there. And it does appear that it's been at around the $200 price point, went on sale for $129, and then that's the $70 off coupon, then the additional 9% off the $129. So what I'm telling you is keep your eye on it, and if you see it, that coupon code come back, let us know in the comments in the days ahead. I am a little worried now because it never dropped that far before. Here we've got March and April. This is only what, a 60-day? Oh, this is only a 1 month. Let's look over the last year. Oh, it doesn't even go back further than a month. Interesting. That's why those options aren't available. There's not enough data here for me to really establish, but what I can tell you, to establish rather the pattern of the discounts, if it's done it once, it's likely going to do that again. And I've got to tell you, and I want to reemphasize this, I originally, oh, was I not, wasn't on the window capture? Let's do that again. Here is the camel, camel, camel link for this product. I just copied and pasted the link right in here. And then you see here, it's only 1 month. It doesn't go, 3, 6 months, a year, nothing there. And it's priced at $200. And then right here, it drops with that $70 coupon. And apparently that ended yesterday. That's my timing, right? That's just me. Now, my hesitation in doing this in the first place was I was afraid that by the time I ordered this, received it, and made you aware of it, it would already be off sale. That's why I mentioned it in the video a couple days ago, and I think I mentioned it again yesterday without actually having one. I cannot emphasize, especially with the uncertainty in the market right now with tariffs, that if you are in the market and you are on the fence, you must act quickly on these deals, because one of two things happen. The deals just randomly end, or they sell out, and then there's no inventory until the next time. There'll always be a next time. I just don't know when it's going to be. And with a 30-day return guarantee from Amazon, you're better to buy it, and if you don't like it, send it back, than to just try and debate if you're going to like it. And then if you make your mind up and decide to order it, well, here we are with the sale off. And with the sale off, I don't think it's not the value it was when I ordered it. Now, my price didn't change. I got it at the discounted price. I paid $112 plus sales tax. And let's open it up and let's see what's in the box, regardless of that scenario. Whoopsie. Again, I can't control it. So the idea is either that we cover it or we don't cover it. Yeah, Sean Gallagher said he has Prime. It goes to $196.12. There are no more discounts. Well, with 9% off. In other words, when you use the promo code, it should take it to 9% off of whatever that price is, right? So 10% would be $19.60. So about $18, $19 would come off. So the price should be a little cheaper than that with the promo code, but not the big discount that we got it at. All right, but thank you for the feedback. All right, let's go ahead and open it up, and let's see what you get. And let's hope it goes back on sale again, I guess. Now, we do everything live here. There's no edits. There's no script. What's in this box, we're going to find out together. If it's broken, we're going to find that out together. These days with electronics, that happens maybe once every 2 or 3 years. It's so rare, just so you know. I have to feel pretty confident that everything's going to be okay for me to go live with it. And if there is a problem, because it is so rare, well, that's an important red flag to consider before ordering a product, because that's not normal. Okay, let's see what we got in here. Documentation. Now this this guy is super tiny. This is 3.5 inches by 3.5 inches and under 2 inches tall. There's nothing really to upgrade in here, by the way. Well, you could replace the little 2242 SSD. I wouldn't bother. If I was you, I wouldn't bother. Now, we do have some warnings on this. Let's just take a look at what this says. Now, these yellow stickers are meant to peel off. That's why they have pull tabs. It says, for faster setup, avoid Wi-Fi or LAN initially. Connecting might trigger long updates, delaying desktop access. They must be watching my videos, because I've been telling you guys that for a long time. It's not that it's going to cause any harm if you do it. It just, you're not saving any time, and especially on a new machine, it makes it longer for you to find out if the thing's going to boot up okay. It just keeps that anxiety up. So I say go ahead and set it up without any sort of printers or flash drives, just the keyboard, the mouse, the monitor, and power, and go through the setup process. When you get to the Windows when you get to the Windows desktop, then go ahead and hook it up to your Wi-Fi or your LAN at that point. On the back, we have some ports covered up here. Kindly note, for faster setup, avoid LAN initially. Okay, it's the same warning, but it's placed on each sticker over each Ethernet port. Yeah, we've got 2 Ethernet ports back there. Let me bring this up to the camera so you can see it better, and you'll see how they made room for the ports when you only have 3.5 inches per side to work with. On the front, just a power button, nice and clean. Turn it this way, 3 USB ports. Keep going in the same direction. We're now at the back. 2 1 gig ports, a barrel power connector, our audio jack, our Kensington audio jack's right there. Kensington lock if you need one. If you have one and you want to lock this thing down to keep it from being stolen. Okay. We'll keep going in the same rotation. There are 3 HDMI ports. That means this can power 3 monitors at the same time, all by its little self. As long as you've got the monitors, it's got the outputs. And then we come back around one more time. That's the front. That's the top. There's information. It's Intel based. There's the scan and join for support. There's another warning there. What does that warning say? This product contains a button cell or a coin battery. Yeah, well, I hope it does. All right, we can peel that off. We don't need that anymore. And then the bottom, this is what the bottom looks like. There's 4 screws to open it up. Again, I don't recommend you do that. And then these 2 brass mounting screw points here are for like a VESA mount. Now, to give you some perspective, this is the knife I opened it up with. This is the documentation that comes with it. It's silly. It is so tiny. All right. All right. Let's get back to what else is in the box. I had a talk with Doug Betts. I said, I need a witness to this. I want you to verify that's on sale, because when I get this product and I make the video, I bet you it automatically goes off sale just before I go live. And he goes, oh, I know, I have that luck too. I go, no, I want a witness though. All right, so let's get this box out of here. And that's all there is in here. In this box, let's see what we have. Now at this price point, I don't expect a lot of accessories, just a power cable. Maybe a VESA mount, maybe not, let's see. We have the standard wall wart adapter right here. Now, you're only going to get about 5 feet of cable here, just so you're aware. So plan accordingly for how far this can reach, because when you plug this into the back, depending on where you set this on your desk, you might need an extension cord or something. This is relatively short. But again, at this price point, they'll make changes where they can, you know, to make sure that you're getting the best bang for the buck. We do get an HDMI cable. That's a short cable, so if you wanted to mount this behind your monitor, then you don't need a 6-foot long HDMI cable, you know. So that usually isn't used by most people because it's not long enough, unless the computer's really, really close to your monitor, right there. And yes, there is the VESA bracket right here. This is what would attach to the bottom if you wanted to secure this behind your monitor or under the desk or against a wall. I never use these. Our good friend Doug Betts does, and maybe he can share with us his experience on using those. And then there's a little bag of screws in here that would be required to attach the VESA mount. That's it. That's all you're getting. This is a pretty bare bones, well, technically it's not bare bones. It's plug and play, ready to go. In the computer world, bare bones means that you have to put in your own storage and RAM. This is not that. This RAM is soldered down. If you're looking at computer parts where it describes the RAM as LPDDR5, or even LPDDR4, I suppose. LP means low power. DDR is double data rate RAM, or double data rate in reference to the RAM. With lower power RAM, the most efficient way to be able to reduce the amount of power and to also put faster speed RAM in while lowering the price and increasing the reliability of that RAM, so that that RAM will very rarely ever die, because it's not in a socket and because it's low power and because it's closer to the CPU. It's faster and cheaper and more reliable. That means it's soldered onto the motherboard. You cannot upgrade the RAM on this. This has 12 gigs of low power DDR5 RAM. I want you to understand that. The CPU it uses can't see more than 16 anyway. There's nothing you can do but change the CPU. CPU is not changeable on this. Once again, to bring the prices down, there's no socket. It's a laptop style low power CPU, so there's not going to be a heating issue with this, a cooling issue. And it's just meant to plug in and use it. And when it no longer meets your needs, it's likely still going to be functional. And if you can find another purpose for it years down the road, it'll still be capable of doing what it's capable of doing today. Whether or not that meets your future needs kind of depends on you, but there's no reason to think of these as built to any less quality or being temporary in the sense of any other computer is also temporary. Only that if you start getting into a hobby like photography or video editing, you might be a little frustrated with the processing time that a computer like this would take, because it's not designed to do that work. It will do the work, but you know, a $1,500 computer where we could buy 14 of these, let's say, would do a much better job at that task. But the vast majority of PC owners, and even a lot of small businesses, this is really all they need, because it's usually the end user that's the slowest point of the machine. And it's usually only the gamers or the specialists that require anything more than this. So bear that in mind, depending on where you are or where you consider yourself to be in that scale of user. And then, of course, set your expectations accordingly and put it in your arsenal of options for friends and family you care about, because a lot of them who think they may not be able to afford a new computer with Windows 10 support ending soon may not be aware that things like these are available, and they go on sale regularly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue with this video regardless of the fact the sale's over. And I know the sale is going to come back on again. I don't know if it'll be the same sale, but I know it's going to go on sale again. I just have a very strong feeling about it. And that way I can just alert you guys and let you know. And then if people want to learn more about it, the video will already be done. Because this unit's been out for like a year, I think, at least a year. So I think we're probably going to end up seeing it on sale again. Okay? I could be wrong. In the meantime, let's take a look at what you get, or what I got for 112 bucks. I need to figure out how I'm going to make this power adapter reach all the way back here. And I also, see, I don't have a whole lot of slack to move that. I need a keyboard, a mouse, and a monitor. That's how we're going to fire these up. So keyboard and mouse. And every time we turn on a new computer, whether we built it ourselves, we don't plug in printers, we don't plug in the internet, we only plug in bare necessities. So that way, if there's anything wrong with it, we know we did not cause it. Okay, it makes it a lot easier to diagnose. If you buy something new that doesn't work, return it. Do not try to fix it. You could void your warranty and you're eating up your return time. If it doesn't work, check the basic things. Make sure all your plugs are plugged in all the way. If you're absolutely convinced this thing doesn't work, just send it back. Whether you wish to exchange it for another one or just get a refund, Amazon is happy to accommodate in most cases either way. HDMI cable. So we need to give it some video so we can see what's going on here, and that's around this side. Doesn't matter which of these ports you use. I'm just going to pick the one in the middle. Why not? Now I'm going to hit the power button. We have a little power light that's come on right there. I don't know how well you can see it. I don't hear anything. Let's switch over to camera 2 and let's take a look at how long this takes to boot. Remember, this is a first boot. We have, it looks like a generic or unbranded BIOS there from AMI. Some manufacturers, in fact, most manufacturers will put their logo there. But that's okay. It's just an observation. As this loads, I'm not hearing any fans. It's completely silent. And it's typical for your first boot up to take a little while to initialize everything. It should not just boot to the desktop. That would make me very suspicious if it did that. So everything it's doing right now looks normal and expected. Now in just a moment, it should take me through what we call the Windows 11 out-of-box experience. That's where it's going to say hello, ask us what country, region, keyboard, etc. And that's what's happening right now. So I'm going to come over here. It's defaulting to English, which is what I want, and we'll click yes. Is this the right country or region? Yes. Remember, they sell these internationally, so it's not automatically set up with only America. So that's how they can do that with, just changing the power adapter to meet the plug requirement. Anyway, keyboard layout is US, and we don't have a secondary keyboard language. And we're not going to connect to the internet, like I said. I have to tell it twice. I like that the default of whatever version of Windows 11 they have on here doesn't make us do the bypass NRO trick. It doesn't force an online account. That's nice that they did that. I'm just going to put a username of user, USER, hit enter, and leave the password blank. And then we're going to get our privacy settings should be coming up here in just a minute. And the Elgato, that's the capture card. That's how I'm able to deliver that video output to your screen. So if you ever see Elgato on the screen like that, that means the device that I'm sending video from is not sending video. Like if I turn the camera off or the computer restarts, just like when you turn your computer off or restart your computer, your monitor may say no signal. Think of that as like a no signal coming from your monitor when you see Elgato coming from my capture card. And so that's expected. That's what we want to see, is we want to see the machine restart like it's supposed to as we go through our first time setup process here. In just a minute, as I mentioned, this is what you want to see on a new computer. It should not just go right to a desktop. That would be very suspicious. Because you're supposed to, you, the end user, you're the one that's supposed to click on the license agreement. You're the one who's supposed to put your username in to whatever you want it to be. You're the one who's supposed to select your country and region and keyboard preferences. by removing all of that, they're not really doing you a service unless that was discussed ahead of time. And so what we're seeing is exactly what we want to see. Everything looks right. I never saw the privacy screen come up. I never saw the questions regarding, hey, do you want your location setting? Do you know, all those things I go through? That never came up for us for some reason. But you see all the silhouetted icons here? That's because there's no internet plugged into it, Wi-Fi or otherwise. And you can tell because we have the little globe right down here. So what I'm going to do is reach down on the floor here and plug my internet in. This is what those yellow stickers were telling you, or at least strongly advising you to do, is just what I've shown you here. Now, it doesn't matter which one of these LAN ports we use. Just pick one, plug your cable in, or go ahead and connect to your Wi-Fi, your choice. In just a minute, we'll know when we're connected because the icon down here in the corner will become a little monitor and our start menu will populate with icons. Yeah, there, it did it when it accidentally clicked it off. So we are connected to the network now. I'm going to right click and change my resolution. Obviously, we're in 4K. It's obvious to me anyway, because I can barely see everything. It's too tiny. So clearly this thing supports 4K out of all three of those HDMI ports. Let's go to 1920 by 1080 and we'll keep the changes. And then let's look at our system specs. Let's go to System. And we can see we've got an Intel N100. Now 800 megahertz is its idle speed. It actually cranks up much faster than that when it needs to. 12 gigs is the amount of RAM that's soldered onto the board. You cannot change that. 11.8 is available because the onboard video that's built into our N100 needs to borrow some of this RAM in order to put the video on the screen. That's why when you buy a discrete graphics card for a desktop, it always comes with RAM. But because these don't come with RAM, they have to get the RAM from somewhere, and that's where you see that usable in parentheses. Scrolling down, you see we've got Windows 11 Pro, and it's 23H2, which is nearly 2 years old at this point. We should see 25H2 in the fall of 2025. Right now, we're in April of 2025, and this even says this as an install date of April of 2025. That's cool. And yeah, 23H2. Now, we're automatically going to be offered 24H2 with Windows updates. So the first thing, of course, I recommend you do is go to Windows Update, start grabbing all your Windows updates. Before you start setting up printers and email and really settling in, make sure this machine is fully updated and it's working correctly. Because if you end up sending it back after you've just personalized it and wasted your time, it's frustrating. So the other thing I want to look at is our device manager. If we right click on the start button, I'm going to go to device manager, and I'm curious who makes our network cards. Under network adapters, I look and see we've got two Realtek PCIe Gigabit Ethernet family controllers and a Realtek wireless LAN. It's 802.11ac. So this is an older Wi-Fi. The GMK Tech has a newer Wi-Fi. That's why I say some things are better, some things are worse, depending on how you see it. On the other hand, having anything faster may not really, this little PC may still operate at a slower speed because that's all it can keep up with. Maybe. Again, it depends on how you use it. So it's less important to me that it's got a 2.5 gig or 1 gig controller, or its Wi-Fi is Wi-Fi 5 or Wi-Fi 6. As long as it's at least Wi-Fi 5, we're good to go. With Wi-Fi 6, it'll still be compatible. It'll still connect. It's only going to run at Wi-Fi 5 speeds. All right. But then again, it's inherently limited by its own hardware. So I'm not quite sure in reality if there's really a benefit to Wi-Fi 6 or not. And that depends on a number of variables, including, and most importantly, how you use it, how strong your signal is, what kind of bandwidth you're getting from your internet, and how many other devices in your building are simultaneously using and sharing that Wi-Fi signal. All right, so there's a lot of variables there that will determine the outcome, including your own value system, and if you perceive that outcome to be good or bad. There is no universal answer to this. All right, with that being done, I can hit Windows Updates here. And we're going to be a few updates behind, and likely it's going to give us some 23H2 updates. We reboot, and then it should offer us automatically 24H2, which is the latest version of Windows 11, as of April of 2025. Again, in the fall, there'll be a 25H2. Those are your big updates. Those are like 5 gig complete reinstall, equivalent to like a service pack back in the day. They just changed the nomenclature. Come down here, I like to go to advanced options, and I like to make sure to keep Windows up to date along with other Microsoft products, and to let me know when it's updated in the background that it wants to reboot. So these are just my personal preferences. I don't like this little advertising thing down here on the search bar, so I get rid of it by typing the word search followed by the word permissions. I don't even have to finish typing it before it comes up and recommends this setting. And I go all the way to the bottom and turn that last thing off right there. That gets rid of that little cartoon down there, never to be seen again. I like to turn off the notifications. They drive me crazy. I just come up here, I click on notification settings, and I just turn that off. Real easy. I also like to check my power saving settings. Even though I've closed Windows updates, they're still running in the background. You can't really stop them. At least you'd have to do it intentionally. Let's go edit power, right there, edit power plan. I don't want my display to turn off while we're live here, so I'm going to set that to 3 hours. And putting a computer to sleep doesn't make any sense unless the computer has batteries in it. So I always set that to never, unless it's a laptop or something that uses batteries. So those are personal preference changes that I make. We'll go back over to, I guess I can just type in the word update. Check for updates, and you'll see it's been running this whole time quietly behind the scenes, and we'll let it download and install what it wants. After our reboot of these updates to 23H2, it should then, if not immediately, very soon, within a day or two, offer us 24H2. We'll find out in just a minute. Let me go back over to camera 1. Jason Lewis with a $5 super chat said he's been giving it some thought and he might fully stop YouTubing and sell off all my PCs. I am just tired of so much work for so little return. Also, he says hello. That's Planet Cryos, in case you didn't know. And Planet Cryos has got some great YouTube videos on his channel. YouTube's, the culture is shifting. Okay, so the culture, not of YouTube, but of society. And YouTube's doing what they feel they need to do to stay relevant in a space where TikTok videos and commercials are the #1 hit video product. If you want a successful product, make a commercial. That's what the masses want to see. Unfortunately, the community and long-form content primarily exists in podcast audio only, and it's just not something that the culture used to be into it, and now they're just not. Will they come back? Who knows? If the reason you make YouTube videos is to generate a profit, you got a long battle ahead because, well, it depends on the subject matter. There's certain topics that are sort of evergreen. Recipes, cooking, things like that, that doesn't change over time. People still need to eat. People still want to cook. Somebody that's 6 years old today may want to look up the cooking videos 20 years from now, but they're not going to want to look this up 20 years from now. This will be ancient history, and out of maybe a little historical bit of curiosity, there's no real benefit to making this kind of content if you want it to last, because this is very perishable. This is like buying a banana. You better use that banana soon or it's going to turn black. And then once it turns black, you have a certain amount of time where you could still use it in banana bread or something like that. Freeze it before it gets any worse. But that time period, it's a very narrow time period. And when we talk about tech, when we talk about reviewing, this is Wi-Fi 5, this is Wi-Fi 6, this is Wi-Fi 6E, this is Wi-Fi 7. That information every single day becomes less and less valuable because everybody's interested in the next thing. And everything we've talked about before, it's all forgotten and the interest has waned. So doing the work that we're doing today on YouTube, you better love doing it, because if you're doing it to get rich, you better do something else. And you can be very successful on YouTube. You just have to pick a different genre. And I do what I do because I love doing it, and because I do it for a living, I can bring my work home with me And I can get paid by a client to do the work, and I can get paid by YouTube to do the same work. So I can double dip. But the payment from YouTube these days, it's pennies. It's no longer what it used to be. And the interest has also waned. So the same content, making the same video 3 years ago, would pay me 90% better. 90. If I made $100 3 years ago doing the exact same content, I make $10 today. So it's not enough for me to sustain. And the way that we make this work financially, just to cover expenses, forget about making a profit, is we ask for support from our viewers. This computer was paid for with support from our viewers. All the money that comes in, I put it right back into the channel. So if you're just starting out and you got no money coming in, you need somebody to finance you until you can build up an audience. Or you need to keep it as a hobby if you enjoy it. But if you feel resentment, if you feel like, wait, this is way too much work and I'm not getting enough, even enough people watching it to make it worth my while, I get that. I understand. So I wouldn't, if I were you, I wouldn't say never. I would just maybe downsize it. So that way, if you're in the mood just to have some fun, because I know you enjoy doing it, maybe just don't put as much effort into it. I do these videos live, so I don't have to go back and do the edits. The edits are the thing I hate the most. The edits I also feel are dishonest, and the edits are what often turn it into a commercial, from my perspective. If you go live and just let the mistakes be in there, then it's one and done. And that way you don't have as much invested, so you don't expect as much, you don't really need as much in return. So a little tip for me to you there, Planet Kraus, because I'd hate to see you just close it up. But you got to do what you got to do. Sometimes people give up a little too early. However, if it's holding you back from something else that'll be more successful quicker, well, I don't want to get in your way or discourage you from that either. Timothy Runquist says hello from Prescott Valley, Arizona. That is a nice place. We talked about maybe moving there, but unfortunately, the economics have all changed and we're not going anywhere for a while. Let's see, how are our updates doing? Come back over here. Still installing. I still don't hear this thing at all. It's whisper quiet, which is good. Now, granted, you're not going to have an Oculink port. That's not what this is for. You're not going to hook up 4 monitors to this. It's not what it's for. You're not going to hook up 6 USB devices to it. It's not what it's for. If you're that demanding, you just open up your wallet the way every demanding person does and pay for it. You can have whatever you want so long as you pay for it. But if you're in a situation where you can't afford to be demanding, then I suggest don't be demanding. This is a great amount of computer for very little money in return, very little amount of money in return. And I just can't believe that we're living in a time where you can get the whole computer for less than the cost of just buying the operating system from Microsoft. Does anybody want to go to Microsoft.com and tell me how much buying Windows 11 Pro costs from Microsoft? Anybody? Right now in the chat room. Just want to keep this genuine and real. I want you to understand the depth of what I'm telling you. How much? Anybody, look this up, please. Go to Microsoft. See how much Microsoft will sell you Windows 11 Pro for. Not the computer, just the operating system. I'm going to sit here and wait. I am not going to look it up because I already have an idea what that number is going to be. And I got news for you. It's a lot more than this whole computer that comes with Windows 11 Pro. I'm not saying you can't find Windows 11 Pro cheaper. I'm saying, how much does Microsoft, if you want to buy Windows 11 Pro directly from Microsoft, how much do they charge for it? Right now, today, April 13th, 2025. Mecca Cameron says $199.99. That sounds right. Mark Baggett says $199. Scott says $199. So $199.99. That's 1 penny shy of $200. I paid $112, something like that. And it already has Windows 11 Pro on it. So it's like I got Windows 11 Pro for $88 off, and they threw in a computer for free. That means the case was free, the motherboard was at, well, let's call it no additional cost. The CPU, the RAM, the storage, the heatsink, the Wi-Fi, the Bluetooth, the power supply, the VESA bracket, the HDMI cable. How's that possible? If it came with Linux, I'd say, okay, I could see how that could be done, but this is fully Windows 11 compliant. There's no workarounds, there's no shortcuts, there's no gimmicks, there's no snake oil here. This is the real deal. Jason Lewis with a $5 super chat says, hey, don't get me wrong, thank you for all the support and love. I guess I'm just blowing off steam. LOL, I might do one here and there. Thank you, Carrie and chat. It's all good, man. And you need to, as a content creator, you need to blow off steam. You're going to drive yourself crazy. I just don't want to see you give up entirely. I understand if you want to downsize it, do it a little less often. Wait for things to change, whether it's your free time or your motivation. And that may be affected by what's going on at YouTube. And who knows what direction YouTube decides to take this, where things could get much worse before they get better. They may never get better, or they might get better next week. And it'd be a shame if you just closed it all up and then all of a sudden it got better and now you've got to go back and redo everything. That's all I'm saying. Sort of like me buying this going, I bet this won't be on sale when I review it. And sure enough, just like I called it. Same thing happened with the GMK Tech. When we got the GMK Tech, it was on sale. It had been on sale for days and I thought, oh, this is safe. I'll do it. The day I do it, it went on sale like earlier that day. Are you kidding me? But we're ready because I know this will go on sale again, and I know this will go on sale again. At this price right now, I'm still recommending this one as a better value. However, if you seem convinced that DDR4 versus DDR5 is valuable to you, I would suggest you look at i9 and Ryzen 9 processors because DDR4 or 5 doesn't make a difference here. If you're thinking you like the idea of dual Ethernet ports, I've never seen anybody use dual Ethernet ports, but maybe you do, and that may value this one higher. But if you think, well, this one's got 2.5 gig Ethernet, I like that better. Okay, I mean, this probably can handle 2.5 gig okay to take advantage of the faster speed, even though the processor and the RAM are going to be bottlenecks. And you say, yeah, but I can upgrade the RAM. Yeah, you can, but should you? It's not really going to do much for you. There's one memory module in here. You can pop it out, replace it with up to 16 gigs. You cannot go any higher than that. It might recognize more, it just the processor can't use it. So if that's the case, and you can look up the N100 and the N150. This is an N150 processor, which is a little better than an N100. So then you might think this one is better. But you might think the size of this one is better, and the fact that it can do 3 monitors makes this one better. But then you might think that the ability to open this one up is more attractive, even though you shouldn't be opening these up anymore. You want that, go get a desktop. Just because you can open these up, there's no real benefit to it. They are pretty much out of the box as good as they're going to be. And while you can delude yourself with the idea of more storage making it better, just plug in an external storage through USB. Universally, that works across the board without any degradation of speed of data transfer. You're also reducing the amount of heat. If you could add more storage, you're just adding more heat and more power consumption. And if the unit should fail or get a virus, you just infected everything. If you had your external drive, you could simply disconnect it. So I have no idea why people are still holding on to this old school idea that you need to upgrade. You used to. These days, most people do not. Mostly hobbyists, home lab, and enthusiasts, things like that. Very specialized, really technical people who love to tinker. You're not going to like these unless you use it as like a little test lab, something you can run little experiments on, because it's better than a Raspberry Pi. So much more power, really, when it's all said and done, by the time you get a Raspberry Pi in a case and get it all set up, you're going to be probably more expensive than this. And this is far more capable. Just food for thought. This one is $140, but they run it with a $10 off coupon from time to time. This one right now is about $180 something, but with that $70 off coupon, which I hope comes back, we paid $112 for it. So when this is $112, I say that's the better deal. When this is not $112, then this is the better deal. At $199, I'm not buying this. I'm just telling you, that's too much. I could get something better for $199. But I can't get something better for $112. That's all I'm trying to convey here. Let me go back over to the desktop. You're still installing. All right, questions in the chat if you have any questions for me. Preferably if they're related to this or any other mini PC, I would prefer. But if you have any other questions for me, I will do my best now to address those and provide answers. Yes, there are. Becca Cameron's mentioning about the price that, you know, this can do everything as little as ASUS Mini does, and it's still way cheaper. Well, that's because you overbought. In other words, if you bought yourself a $1,000 computer where a $200 computer was all you needed, that's not a criticism of the device, but a criticism rather of the decision of the shopper. So if we go on Amazon right now and we look at what's available in mini PCs, let me let's bring up the Amazon page over here, and I'll type in, I'm just going to type in mini PC and see what shows up here, because I want to give you an idea of how far across the board these are and what to watch for. So let me pull my window capture back up and let's scroll down through our search results. So there's another, actually this is the GMK Tech G3 Plus. Looks like the price went up on it again. So $168.99, there's an $11 coupon. So it's not $140 anymore. It used to be $139. It might be scary because of the tariffs. They might be jumping ahead, but they said computers and cell phones storage, electronic storage would be exempted from the tariffs. But they only made that announcement yesterday. So maybe they didn't get the memo yet. I expect these prices will come back down. But just take a look at what you're getting for the price. This is $249. You can save $55. That brings it to $195. For essentially, you get a terabyte of storage and 16 gigs of RAM, which is the most you can put into an N150, by the way. And that's a better value at $195, in my opinion, than this AceMagic one we're looking at today. It's a little bit cheaper, but that's a lot more storage and RAM over here. But it gets really offensive to me as we continue digging down. You're going to find some very bizarre things available to any sucker willing to buy it who doesn't understand what they're buying. Almost universally, you're going to see the N series processors under the $200 mark from numerous manufacturers. So B-Link is a reputable manufacturer. We've evaluated many of their PCs before. It's a limited time deal at $170. That's also an N150, 16 gigs of RAM, and 500 gigs of storage. Okay, and it's Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth 5.2 with USB 3.2. If we scroll down, we've got a Camrui. That's made by AceMagic. N150, 8 gigs of RAM, 256 gigs storage. That's very similar to what we're using today, what we're evaluating today. Now, I'd say this is the better deal today at $124. That's the better deal. Unless you needed those dual Ethernet ports or you needed the ability to hook up 3 HDMI monitors, in which case, again, you're being demanding. I'm just saying, open up your wallet if you want to be that demanding, and you can be as demanding as you can afford. This is another AceMagic model that's 160. This has a DisplayPort and an HDMI. These all have Wi-Fi, but as we continue scrolling, I want you to pay attention how the models start changing and the prices start changing. So this is a Ryzen 9 6900 with 32 gigs of RAM and a terabyte of storage. Well, this isn't a flagship processor today. It was pretty high-end a couple of years ago. So they're selling it at basically $399 with that $30 coupon. Maybe it might be good. You're more in mid-range. But take a look at this, $89.99. Now, before you get too excited, this uses eMMC memory. And eMMC memory is profoundly slow. This does not have NVMe SSD storage. This is essentially a camera memory card. It's very, very slow. This processor is the N4000. That is not a Windows 11 compatible processor. So this is either going to be a Linux machine or it's got Windows 10 on it until Windows 10 expires in October. It'll still have Windows 10 on it, don't get me wrong, it just won't be supported anymore. If we click on the details, let's see what operating system they're putting on here. Operating system is OS. Oh, there's got to be better information than that. Come on now. These will do 4K video output, by the way. Did it ever say what the operating system? Just keep saying OS. Maybe somebody in the reviews will tell us what it's got on there. I'm guessing it's going to have Windows 10 or it's going to have Linux. Because if it's got Windows 11, run. Somebody's shoehorned it in there when it's not supposed to be there. And that MMC storage or eMMC storage, that is going to be the bottleneck, the choke point to this whole machine. That holds the whole machine back. Now there's a similar looking machine right here, but it's an N100. That one's okay. It's basically the same case with different innards. This person's got a picture of setup for what? Can't tell if that's 10 or 11. Okay, N4000 CPU. Let me just confirm what I'm saying here. Let me open another browser and we'll type in is N4000 CPU Windows 11. I don't even have to finish the sentence. Google should know what I mean. Oh, I take it back. The N4000 is compatible with Windows 11. I'll be darned. I stand corrected. That's why we need to check. There's so many processors out there. We're okay. It's going to be that really painfully slow because of the eMMC memory storage. That's the storage. And it's basically, again, it's like a camera memory card. It's really, really, really slow. I am surprised the N4000 is Windows 11 compatible, but I don't think you can go any lower than that. I think that's where Windows 11 compatibility begins on Celeron processors. If I'm not mistaken, and I could be, we are live and unscripted. Watch these prices, because when somebody's got a Windows 10 computer only, they're going to try and get rid of that inventory. And how are they going to do that? It's going to be ridiculously cheap. On the other hand, there are going to be some sellers that think you don't know any better, and they're going to charge more for it under the impression you think you're getting more. So you've got to watch yourself. So it looks like we're still okay on a 4000 series chip in this regard. This says it comes with WinOS. What does that say? I think it's supposed to say Windows. WinOS 10. And again, it's eMMC. And it doesn't matter how fast the processor is. It doesn't matter how much RAM you've got. That is going to just kill performance, and there's nothing you can do about it. You're just locked in, soldered to the board. Too bad, so sad. Let's keep going. Let's see what else we've got in our results here. Here's one for $700, and that's a sale price. But you're looking at an i9 13th gen latest 13900H processor. That's a 14-core 20-thread CPU. That's some serious horsepower. So when you consider what you're paying for what you're getting, seems pretty fair to me. N100s are fine all day long. N97, N100, N150, if you're looking for a budget machine, these are all fine. What I'm trying to bring to your attention, I'm not seeing, but we'll just keep digging down. We'll find them. Here's an ASUS, and these get really expensive. This is a 14th Gen Ultra 7. All right, this is a Gen 1, basically mobile chip that was often used in laptops. They're in the 200 series right now from Intel on the desktops, but they never came out with a 100 series for the desktops. So this is 14th Gen with built-in RTX 4060 graphics, mobile graphics, the same as a laptop. 16 gigs of DDR5 and a 1 terabyte Gen 4 NVMe with RGB lighting. You're at $1,300 plus sales tax. That is pricey. It's not necessarily a bad deal. Take a look at this. Here's an HP ProDesk 600 G3. We were like giving these away to veterans, remember? They were $100 then, they're still $100 now. It's not Windows 11 compliant. This number needs to be at least an 8 for this to be Windows 11 compliant. So it's a Windows 10 computer. What do you do with it after October? Spend the extra $30 for another 12 months of support. But if you take that $103 and add $30 to it, so you can use it for at least a year and a half, at $133, you're back to a price of a new, not refurbished, mini PC with Windows 11 already on it, with a much longer support life left in it. Now, here's an interesting idea. Let's go back up to the top and let's search for mini PC renewed. I'm just curious what we see in here, because once again, this is hot potato type of mentality. We got to dump this stuff. We'll throw it out there at a ridiculously low price because it's essentially e-waste. So here we've got a Lenovo ThinkCentre. This is a 6th generation, very similar to the HP we just looked at that I feel was well overcharged at $103. They want $68 for it. Now look, if you want to use Linux, if you want to use Proxmox or I don't know, Open Media Vault, stuff like that, these little boxes for little project fund boxes are just fine. Nothing physically wrong with it with regards to noise or durability or quality. It's just not ever going to run Windows 11 compatible. It's not going to meet the requirement. You could circumvent the security requirements, but you're just doing it to yourself. But they just can't get rid of these. $68. Just the box and the shipping alone for me to ship this to a viewer would cost me $50 minimum. So here's the whole thing with the box and shipping for $68. So just kind of be aware when the price is super cheap, what's the processor? And if you don't know which one's Windows 11 compatible or not, hey, I don't blame you. Even I don't know. Look, I got it wrong too. A quick Google search is all it takes. Is i5-6500T Windows 11? You don't have to write it out like a human, or you can use Copilot and just ask it like a human. You can talk to Copilot like another human being and it'll respond too. If you see the N100, N150, anything that starts with the letter, well, no, I take that back. The N97, the N100, and the N150 are your current Celeron models. If you see the letter J, it's not going to be Windows 11 compatible. Here's another, here's an i5. This is a 4th generation i5. That makes it's at least 10 years old. It's renewed, $78. Here's a Tough Mini KN1 N4000, 8 gigs. There's that eMMC, run for the hills, man. The N5105, you should be okay because that number's bigger than 4. If we know the N4000 series is Windows 11 compatible, then anything 4 or above should be as well. We go below the number 4, It's probably not, but we can always, again, a quick Google search will give us that answer to be sure. But I've seen some of these PCs that are not Windows 11 compatible that they're shoving Windows 11 onto, and they're not saying anything about it. Here's an HP EliteDesk G4. That's an AMD Ryzen 5. It's a second generation. So you're looking at the 2400. I think that'll be okay with Windows 11. Ryzen 5, let's see, 2400 GE is Ryzen 2400 GE. No. Oh. It's still a first generation. I thought if it started with a 2, you'd be okay. This is why we check before we buy. Even when I think I know things, I've been wrong twice now. There's too many products out there for me to memorize it. So I don't expect you to know. But I do expect you to take 3 seconds to Google it instead of saying, oh, I got ripped off. You protect yourself from getting ripped off. See this 7500? That 7 is not an 8. So I know at least this much. When we're talking about quad-core processors, you definitely want to see that whether it's an i3, an i7, an i5, that next number needs to be an 8 or bigger. Now, if there's an additional number, see how that's 4 digits, 7500, and then it becomes a letter? If that's 10,500, that's not a 1, that's a 10. So just be aware of that. 10 is bigger than 8. But it'll be a 5-digit number instead of a 4-digit number. Again, I don't expect you to memorize all this. There's not going to be a test afterwards. Use Google or use your search engine and just look it up before you make the purchase. You might want to look through the reviews, but read those with a grain of salt. There are some machines in here that are, from the way I look at it, they're scams. And I'm not running into any. That's the good thing. Right now, where we're live, I'm not seeing them. Here's again a 7500. It's $93. These were great little boxes, but you're just not going to put Windows 11 on it, at least not legitimately, and it's going to have consequences. I recommend you don't force it on there. Use a different operating system, or if you don't want to, then don't buy a computer that's not adequate for that need, or you're just opening up yourself to all kinds of future headaches. As we continue to scroll down, don't see anything really terrible here. Oh, look at this. It's only $110. That's a, well, but we're eMMC. That's the deal breaker right there. Never mind. It looks so promising at first. You've got to look at the details. Now, if you want a really good deal on a mini PC and you don't want to doubt it, I'm going to give you a little secret. A little bit of shopping tip here from your Uncle Carrie. Let's go back to camera 1 for a second because I want to, where's my, hold on a second. Where's my camera? Right here. Okay. And let me check on this. Is this still updating or are we ready to reboot? Still updating. Okay. Don't wait for somebody to come out and tell you about a deal on a message form or in a YouTube video, because thousands of people are getting that information at the same time. So now it's a competitive, you better get there first. I wish I would have known about this 2 hours ago when the information was published. You can avoid that whole be the first scenario by not following the crowd. Instead of waiting for me to tell you about a deal, here's one thing you can do instead. Let me go back over to my window capture. I'm going to go up here to the search engine and I'm going to type in Minis Forum Refurbished. Enter. And this first link is refurbished.minisforum.com. You see who the seller is? You see who the refurbisher is? The manufacturer. This inventory changes nearly daily. 1-year warranty, free shipping, and inventory varies depending on what day you look. So they have ratings on why they're refurbished. They call that a Series A, which is like little scratches or bumps, okay? Big deal. Series B, it's got to be a lot more noticeable with scratches or even some damage to the case. And that's pretty much it. I don't think there is a Series C. I think at that point, they're just not even offered. Now you have a Europe. This is a good thing for our international viewers. There is a store that sells in Europe for refurbished mini forums. Minisforum has a store that sells refurbished in the UK. I'm going to click on all products. Now you can select between Intel and AMD if you have a preference. I'm just going to show you some examples of how much money you can save instead of waiting for somebody to tell you about it, because I guarantee they may only have 1 or 2 or 3 of these of any particular model. So let's look, for example, if we're looking at that $200 price point of this AceMagic at Amazon, could we do better than that? Or the GMK Tech that we paid $139 for, that's an N150. Just, again, this is live and there's no prep here. I don't know what's available until I just clicked on it. But the first thing being offered, and it does look like it's in a price order here. Looks, oh no, this one's cheap. Let's go to this first item at $139, and let's see what you're going to get. It's $370 off, first of all. This is an AMD, are you sitting down? This is an AMD Ryzen 9 6900X. Now, the word barebone means you have to put your own RAM, and you have to put in your own storage, and you have to put in your own operating system. That's on you. So at the end of the day, will that be cheaper? But this is a 6900. This is a Ryzen 9. They don't sell a processor higher than the Ryzen 9 unless you go to Threadripper, and it's a few generations old. Look, it's got even the USB Type-C on the front there. USB 4 maybe. Let's scroll down and look at some more of the details. Got the built-in Radeon RX Vega 8 graphics that are built onto the chip. It's DDR4, that's dual channel. It supports triple displays. It's got, well, here it says Windows 11 Pro pre-installed, but clearly if it's bare bones, it has no storage and no RAM. That's on you. For the same price as the GMK Tech G3, which is an entry-level model, this is the exact opposite of entry-level. It's just a couple of years older in the tech. It's still super fast by anybody's standards. The NAB 6 and NAD 7, that's the one with the lid that just pops off. If we scroll down, I want to see what this $89 one is. What are you going to get for 89 bucks? Let's go look at the U700. What do they have? Okay, hey, this is an i5 5257U. Now you remember I was warning you about the number below the number 8 on desktop CPUs. This is a mobile CPU. See the letter U that comes at the end? That changes things. That's why I say it gets so confusing. These almost all universally appear to be bare bone units. However, the fact that these options exist, perhaps that's just not a hard, steadfast rule. But again, you'll have to add your own CPU. I'm sorry, not your own CPU. CPU is soldered on. You have to put in your own RAM. You have to put in your own storage, and you have to provide your own operating system. It's not included in this price of $89 with a 1-year warranty and free shipping. So if we look up this processor, the Core i5 5257, that's not that old. Let's go back over to our search. And we'll just highlight that part and paste what we just copied. Oh, it's not. Man, that's 3 times today. Holy cow. Is that right? Yeah, it is not. So be aware of that. Do your research, because if I'm a professional technician and I'm easily getting all of these model numbers confused with compatibility, I don't expect any of you to know off the top of your head, and it's not worth guessing because you're not in a rush, right? You're looking on your own. You're not waiting for somebody to announce it publicly, and then all of a sudden the crowd rushes in and grabs everything, whoever gets there first. Take your time. There'll be other stuff listed there tomorrow. Now this one, this blows me away. My favorite minis forum prior to the X1 AI is the MSO1. I love the MSO1. This is a hardcore workstation. This is an i9-12900. They're including 32 gigs of RAM and a 1 terabyte solid state drive, NVMe in there. And this was $800 or $900. Now it's $509 refurbished. Further, if we go back again and look at some other choices, this was another great mini PC designed for gaming on a budget. The AMD Ryzen 9 6900X with the 6600M Radeon graphics. This is bare bones, so you're going to have to provide your own RAM, your own storage, and your own operating system. $399. You remember when we reviewed these? Do you remember what the price was? And so what if it has a blemish on the case? Who cares? I'm just looking for some bargains down here. So the $89 ones, they're $89 because they can't get rid of them. Here's a refurbished N100D. These aren't rocket ships, but it's an N100 processor. It's $105. And what kind of RAM and stuff does it come with here? The RAM is soldered on, so you don't have to worry about it being a bare bones system. Windows 11 is pre-installed. It's the N100C, is that what it was? But it's been, oh, well, it doesn't matter. Is it sold out? Oh, never mind. Sold out. Too late. If you're really looking for a bargain, don't wait for someone to tell you about it because you've already waited too long. Just bookmark the page and keep checking it. This machine at $299, are you out of your mind? There's no way. It's got to be sold out. It's not sold out, but it is bare bone. $299. Granted, it's not as powerful as that Ryzen 9, but it's a generation newer at the 7000 instead of the 6000. And you, again, bare bone. Oh, here it is with 32 gigs of RAM and 1 terabyte. Changes the price to $439. Okay, that makes a little more sense. This bad boy right here, pretty serious little gaming PC. It's got discrete mobile graphics chip soldered onto it. Anyway, I think I made my point. There's other places besides Amazon if you're really looking for a bargain. Just know what the processor is with regards to compatibility and pay attention if it's bare bones or not. So if it's bare bone, you'll be providing, again, your own RAM, your own storage, and your own operating system. Sometimes it's just cheaper to get it already installed than buying it refurbished. It depends what you're looking for. Like this thing, whatever this is, seems pretty well equipped. I see a lot of ports on this bad boy. I don't think we've ever seen one of these here. Look at all the ports on the back here. Ryzen 7 5700G is very respectable. 32 gigs of RAM is a lot of RAM. 512 gig of storage is fine. And the price on that, $269. All right, I'm not Ron Popeil over here. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I just want you to be aware. All right, and again, there's the Europe refurbished store and the UK refurbished store. So if you're watching and I'm telling you about all these deals in the USA and you're like, man, I wish Carrie could tell us deals about where we live, here you go. Right there, go find your deal. Now, everybody's probably looking at the site today, okay? Now that I've brought it to public attention. Wait till next week. Wait till the week after that. You're gonna see more and more deals and less people going to the site than when some influencer makes a blog post or a TikTok or a YouTube or, you know, draws attention to it. So let it simmer down a little bit. That's what I'm saying. Put it in your pocket. And when everything quiets down, then you go and look. The other thing you can do is you can follow Minis Forum on Facebook, and they post exclusive only deals on Facebook. So I like Minis Forum products. I have no problem, no qualms recommending them, refurbished or otherwise. So that's the way I see it. How are we doing on our updates? Is it done finally? Let's restart. And while that's restarting, we'll come back over here. I'm going to go back over to the chat room now and see what I've been missing this whole time. Mecha Cameron says the eMMC is Chromebook storage. Yeah, you know, Chromebooks don't really store anything, so yeah. Morton said that Ryzen Mini looked good for $169. I'm telling you, I see deals there every day. And that are just like, I would so buy that if I needed it. I'm like, how could they do that? I saw one on Facebook. They posted about the MSA1, which is the AMD version of the MS01, for like $219. Bare bones, but still, are you kidding me? That can't be right. But I was looking for it just now and I didn't see it. So maybe that sold out, or maybe that's a Facebook only deal. I don't know. I couldn't believe it was that cheap. It was refurbished. I don't care. I buy refurbished items all the time. Rarely do we ever have a problem with it. And they stand behind it, by the way. Minis Forum stands behind it. They don't take your money and go, see ya, sucker, because there's plenty of people that will do that, especially on Facebook Marketplace or OfferUp or eBay. That's where it's most prevalent. Jason H88 said, Carrie, you've been wrong 3 times today. You must be in the Twilight Zone. No, I think I'm still under par for the course. Oh, man, I was pretty confident that 4000 was not compatible. I am surprised, but it's a happy surprise. I'm glad to hear that you can buy a Windows 11 compatible computer for under $100. It'll be slow, but it'll do it without any circumvention or manipulation to shoehorn the operating system in there. And Lord only knows what consequences that's going to be after October. A lot of people that are putting Windows 11 on machines that are not Windows 11 compatible and saying, hey, look, it works. Let's see if they keep saying that after October. Let's see if they keep saying that in January. I have a very strong suspicion that when Windows 10 expires and support ends in October, that all those computers that are on Windows 10 hardware, regardless if they're Windows 11 or 10, will cease getting updates. Now, I could be wrong the 4th time today. I don't know what Microsoft's going to do, but it seems like this is something Microsoft is likely going to do. I hope I'm wrong and we can all get away with circumventing all the security requirements. But my experience suggests that Microsoft is tolerating it until Windows 11 reaches end of life, October 14th of this year, 6 months from now. Now, Windows 10 won't stop working. It doesn't switch off. It just won't get any more updates. And you'll probably be okay until the end of the year. But if you keep using Windows 10 without extended support into 2026, I can't help you. I cannot help you. Geek Squad and all the other professional computer repair shops, especially the chain ones where they have policies and procedures, will be required to say, no, we can't work on it. Try that with Windows 7 today. Take it to Geek Squad, see what they tell you. This is more of the same. And I think all these people that are making videos going, look, you can circumvent the requirements. And Windows 11 installs fine, there's no problems. You mean the same as Windows 10? There's no problems? Just wait. Wait until support for Windows 10 ends. And I strongly suspect that any computer that is not Windows 11 compatible, regardless if it has Windows 10 or 11, will also no longer get support updates after that support end of life. I could be wrong, but remember, if it happens, I'm going to just throw the cards out there so we can play this video back if it happens and say, Carrie called that 6 months ago. Okay, and then we'll go from there. So otherwise, you could say, hey, Carrie, remember when you were wrong? And I'll say, which time? There's too many to I'll put the gamble out there because it's a safe gamble. If you make sure you're not running Windows 10 or you're not running Windows 11 on a Windows 10 computer, then the end result doesn't matter to you. You've now removed yourself from the consequences. But if you want to roll the dice, I'll roll the dice too, and I'm going to tell you why you shouldn't roll the dice. We'll see which one of us is right, just for fun. This is not I'm better than you type of an argument. It's simply devil's advocate. What if? What are you going to do? Are you prepared for that contingency? Are you willing to take that risk? If you are, don't let me get in your way. But if you're not, start looking for those deals right now. Again, with the scare of the tariffs and everything else going on, this is going to potentially affect our prices, even though the administration has said we're not including computers, we're not including smartphones, anything related, as far as I know, to computers. That's my understanding, and it could be changing as I'm speaking to you. And then there's got to be a reaction to it whenever those other individuals get the information, and we'll see how this plays out. Orban Colossus says, Carrie, I want to use your discount code to buy a Windows to install on a new solid-state drive for my few years old PC with Windows 7. Does it make sense not to get Windows 11? It's an i9-12900K. Well, if you go to SCD Keys, and that's where we sell we recommend you buy your license, because we know they're legit, we know they're supported, we know they're never going to rip you off. If you have a 12900K with Windows 7, I've got to wonder what's wrong. Why would you be running a 20-year-old operating system on a 2-year-old computer? I don't get that, but look, I don't even want to know. It's so preposterous. I don't know how you got yourself in this position. I don't know how you justified it, but now you find yourself with the consequence, right? This is what I keep warning people about. All right. Spilled milk. Let's keep moving. Windows 10 Professional is still being sold by SCD Keys, even though Microsoft stopped selling it a couple of years ago. Windows 10 Professional, if we go to SCD Keys, let's go back over to my window capture, and I'll just show you. So the link for our video is what? Let's go to YouTube. You know what? Let's do it another way. Let's come back over to, give me just a second here as I'm figuring out what the heck I'm doing. Let's go turn that off. Let's go back to this machine because, oh, it's still updating? Okay, never mind. So much for that idea. Let me just come up here real quick. I'll just click on my, in the video notes of today's video. If you scroll down, you're going to see it says Windows 10 Pro, and there's a link. And we click on that link, and it's going to bring up this page right here. Okay, this is where we get our license codes and where our coupon code works. Now, if you notice, Windows 10 Pro is $22.46. When we take 30% off of that, 10% would be $2.24. This is how I do math in my head. Take the number off of the end here and move that decimal point over to the left 1. That's 10% of any number. So 10% of $22.46 would be about $2.24. 10% 3 times is 30%. So 224 plus 224 plus 224. So $2 would be $4 would be $6 and 24 cents, then 48 cents, and then 72 cents. So that's going to be, let's say, $6.50 off. That's going to bring you down to about $15.72 or something like that after the coupon code. $15.72. Okay. We're not going to install Windows 10 Pro. We only want the Windows 10 Pro key. Let's say that again. We're not going to install Windows 10 Pro. We only want to buy the Windows 10 Pro key because it is a free upgrade to Windows 11 Pro, which you can enter into Windows 11 Pro no differently than Windows 10 Pro, and it activates no differently than a Windows 11 Pro key. So why not buy the Windows 11 Pro key? Because it costs more money. And it does the exact same thing as long as the free upgrade is available. I don't think the free upgrade will be available after support ends for Windows 10. There's another prediction I'm making that I could be wrong about. But as long as you get in before that time, you're activated to that motherboard. It's tied to the board for life regardless. You just have to get it while it's being offered, and you're grandfathered in. If we go up here to the search and I type in Windows 11 Pro, it's not that much more expensive, but Windows 11 Pro, right here, instead of the $22, it's $31. Now, 30% off, that would be $3.12. 10% would be $3.12 three times. So 312 would be $6.24, and add another $3.12. That'll be $9.36, bringing the price down to about $22 versus $15. It's about a $4 or $5 price difference. And as far as you're concerned, and as far as I'm concerned, and as far as Microsoft is concerned, it does exactly the same thing in Windows 11 Pro as a Windows 10 Pro key does. You don't have to do anything any different but save $5. Once you activate either way, your activation stays tied to your motherboard. It cannot be moved. If you need to move your operating system, come back and spend another $15. So long as you're under the $200 MSRP for Microsoft, you could buy this how many times? Over and over and over again. Or you can spend the $200 at Microsoft and get a retail key, and then you can move it around. So don't be upset that you can't move this key. You just have to buy another one, but they're so inexpensive. It'd be like being upset that you bought lunch today, but you're still going to be hungry for lunch tomorrow. Well, just go buy lunch again. You don't have to buy the entire grocery store. Just get it when you need it. It's cheap. Anyway, yes, I would buy Windows 10 Pro for $15 and change with the coupon code CARRY. I would install Windows 11 just the way I show you. I don't put a product key in during the install. I wait until the install is done. In fact, I go and get all my updates. I put in all my drivers. And the reason I do it in that order is, what if I have to send the board back? What if something's wrong with it? I can't get my Windows license back. My Windows license stays tied to that motherboard forever. So don't be in a hurry to do it. Make sure everything's working exactly the way you want it. Everything looks good. There's no benefit to activating Windows, by the way, except that you can customize your wallpaper and make some customizations. And you get a little watermark that says your Windows isn't activated. Other than that, Windows will work indefinitely and forever, regardless of activation. It doesn't limit you in any way. It doesn't prevent any feature other than you customizing it. That's all that activation does these days. So don't feel, just because you get the little watermark, that you must activate. But yeah, if you want full control of changing the wallpaper and making customizations, you know, the nonsense stuff that people just desire, that's what the activation's for. That's it. That's all activation does. So don't feel any hurry to get it done. Make sure the machine is stable. You're not going to be having to tear it back apart and return the motherboard. Or maybe you buy one of those bare bones units, right, from Minis Forum, and you put your own operating system on there. Don't activate it right away. Because if you find out there's something wrong with that refurbished machine, and you take, let's say it's bare bones, and you've taken out your solid state drive and your RAM so you can send it back, you can't take out your license code. It's tied to the serial number on the board. So make sure, especially when you buy a bare bones unit, when you put your operating system on there, run it for a few days, maybe longer. And then when you're ready, then go get your activation key. That way you know you're likely going to be keeping this for a while. Or accept that risk, that if you don't want to listen and you want to activate, even though there's no good reason to do it, you go get that refurbished PC, you're so confident, you're so excited, and you're so impatient, and you're so intolerant. You throw in your RAM and your solid state drive, you buy your activation key, you activate it, and then suddenly the machine's acting up. You reach out to Minis Forum, they say send it back, and you come over here and you go, I can't believe I wasted money on an operating system. I can't put it on a new PC. I warned you. That's why the price is so cheap. I'll tell you what, if you're going to be that way, I'll charge you 3 times as much for a license key, and I'll let you install it on up to 3 different times on 3 different boards. It's the same thing. Which way you want to do it? All right. I've just heard that a few times from people, and I'm beating my head against the wall going, what is this they don't understand? It's a $15 license key. One use, activated for life, you're good, done. But I want to move it, then spend another $15. But I already bought it for $15. You bought it for 1 use. Now you want to use it again, it's another $15. But I could buy the retail key and do it as much as I want. Well, technically, no. Microsoft will eventually think you're a pirate and shut it down, but you could easily do it 10 times. Yeah, but $199, that's a lot more money. Yeah, well, it'd be $19 10 times. I don't understand what the problem is. All right, does that make sense? Is everybody getting this? Let me jump over to the chat room here because I can't see your reactions right now. Half of you were probably looking at the screen. Just say that. Keeping it real. Just being honest. It's a really good deal. Dorado Systems contributes $99.99 RON. Gosh, I can never remember what RON is. Give me just 1 minute. Let me Google this. Romanian? I love that we have viewers all over the world. I love this so much. I love this. That's about $22.81 in US dollars, and it is a Romanian leu. Is that how it's pronounced? And thank you very much for that. I very much appreciate any contributions we get from anyone at any point. And when they come from around the world, that's even cooler. Dorado Systems has a question. Excuse me if I'm off topic. Off topic? We're good with that today. I just want to ask, what should you expect from the Intel warranty return process? I bet you have a great story about it, and I'm waiting for DHL to pick up a bad 13th gen CPU. Okay. This may surprise you because the internet has become a big echo chamber. So if I want to look up how bad Intel CPUs are, all of my search results are going to be feeding that craving. There will be no devil's advocate. There will be no opposite information. It wants you to click on what you want to see. It's not going to provide you what you need to see, but what you want to see. So if you want to see how bad the Intel CPU process or return process is, Google that and read to your heart's content. But if you take a minute and you also type into your search, how good is the Intel CPU? Then you will read nothing but how good it is from people who said, oh, it was super easy, it was really convenient. Whatever you want to see is what it's going to show you. So if you don't know, if you're trying to be unbiased and get a fair and balanced, you must do 2 searches. You must search for the front of the coin and you must search for the back of the coin if you want to see both sides of that coin. If you don't look, it reminds me of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, where they put the glasses on that prevent you from seeing things so that you won't panic in danger. If you don't see the danger, you won't panic from it, and therefore these glasses will keep you from panicking. It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. That's why it's funny. It's very sarcastic. It's very British humor. Dry and sarcastic. And in much the same way, this is how our culture is revolving around seeing what they want to see, and what they don't see doesn't exist. It's just not there. So it's up to you to look through that. I have never returned an Intel CPU. I'm trying to think if I did it once. I'm going to play it safe and say I did it once years ago, and it was super easy. Here's the thing about Intel that you need to know. Intel's not a fly-by-night company. They're not out to rip you off. They're not out to sell you a bad product because they want to stay in business. So here's what Intel has done if you're not aware. Because of the issues that have long ago been resolved, But the issues that existed on 12, some 12 and 13th, not all, a very small percentage, but larger than normal failure rates, but not everything, just a larger than normal failure rate, has everybody abuzz about all 12th and 13th gen being bad. That is not true. It is a small percentage. And if you are unlucky enough that you were affected by that, Intel has said they are they're extending the warranty to being pretty much twice that of a regular Intel CPU. So you actually have a better CPU right now because your warranty is 5 years worldwide. Doesn't matter where you are in the world, Intel says, we got you. We're so confident that you're not going to be affected by this, that if you are in the next 5 years, we will replace it for free. Relax, everybody. If you unfortunately did not buy a 12th or 13th, or 12 and 13, yeah. If you didn't buy the 12 or 13th gen CPUs that were bad, okay, then you didn't get the best warranted CPUs Intel has released to the consumers. There is no other Intel chip to consumers that's warranted for 5 years. That's better because of the warranty. Now, do you think Intel's going to do that and then make the warranty process difficult or discouraging? That's the opposite of what they're doing. And no, despite all of the, again, if I go searching for bad 12th and 13th gen Intel CPUs, all I'm going to see are search results, hundreds or thousands of people whining about it. Some of those people will be affected, but others are whining on behalf of what they're reading, as though they're putting on their cape and speaking up for people who can't speak for themselves. I find the whole thing offensive. If you're not affected by it, you shouldn't be talking about how terrible the whole situation is when it doesn't even affect you and you're just saying half of the information. But then if you type in how good the 12th and 13th generation chips are, then you run into a bunch of people, I don't know, no idea what everybody's talking about, mine's fine. And you'll see thousands of those messages too. So don't let your anxiety get the best of you. And thank you for your super chat. Intel's going to take care of you anywhere in the world. It's a 5-year warranty, longer than any other CPU warranty that Intel sells to consumers. You've got yourself a really good chip. Now, the chip you have right now, again, some of them, a very small percentage of them had issues. Intel's going to make this process painless, effortless. You're going to get a new one. You'll never need to do that again. It's just a fluke. And at that fluke, very few people were affected, and the dice just rolled where you are one of the very few. And that's why Intel can afford to take care of you. Intel's not being bombarded with bad CPUs. They're not like, oh, geez, we ran out because we had to warranty so many. But if you look online specifically for how many people claim to be affected, it's really not that many compared to how many were sold. And the people who aren't affected don't usually say anything. So oftentimes what's going to get your attention is that little tiny percentage that's complaining because you're not getting a whole lot of praise. People don't have any reason to. I bought a chip, it works. What do I have to say? Nothing. I bought a chip, it doesn't work. I'm pissed off and I want the world to know. And I'm going to post 17 times, once on Reddit and once over here and once over there. One guy, 17 times. And then another guy, another 12 times. And then you look at search results, and just between those two guys, you see 30 different results. That's not representative of reality. So bear that in mind. Let us know how this process goes. Follow up with us. Tell me if I'm wrong. I'd love to hear your experience. Because we know you. You join us in the chat. We don't know these people on Reddit. They could be bots from AMD, from all I know. So take it with a grain of salt, and please share your experience. But I would tell you, you've got nothing to worry about. I used to work at Intel. This was a long time ago, but I worked there. I'm very proud of my work there. I'm very proud of working for such a reputable company. They made some bad decisions, okay? They've always done that. But they've never made a bad enough decision that's put them out of business. That kind of thing, like if you're making the return process difficult, that's the kind of decision that'll put you out of business. So I think you're probably going to be just fine, and this is going to be painless and easy. But either way, please follow back up with us and let us know. And thank you again for your generosity and support of the channel. And Morton said he's got a 14700K and it's running great. These are 12 and 13 gen. It was addressed and fixed in 14th gen. So pretty much just 12 and 13th gen were affected. I believe. I think I'm getting that right. Could be wrong the 5th time today. Let's, again, without scripting and time to research things, we're all over the map on tech from mini PCs and CPUs, and I do the best to work off the top of my head. So just bear that in mind. And always verify what anybody tells you, regardless of how much you trust them. We all make mistakes. There's no malice here. If I'm wrong, there's no malice. But either way, we'd love to hear from people who actually have the experience so that we can say it even more so. So the next time somebody asks that question, we could say, oh, well, Dorado Systems joined us in the chat. They went through this and here's what they said. So that's what you should expect. We just don't know what you're going to say yet. But I got a feeling, a strong feeling, this is no big deal. Patrick Manny said, so far so good on my 13700K. I have lots of 12, 13, and 14 generation chips here on desktops. I've never had an issue with any of them, ever. So I don't know what all this whining is about. I really don't know. I'm not just saying it. That's reality. There's no dog in the race for me. If I had them bad, I'd tell you. But I have no reason to join a bandwagon just to be cool. That's what the cool kids are doing. Don't care what the cool kids are doing. This is my reality. I build a lot of them. And you know how upset I get when things don't go as planned because a manufacturer did something they shouldn't have done. You've seen my reaction to that. You know I wouldn't hide it. I would expose it. I got nothing to expose. It all just works. I don't know what to say. It's baffling. It's just a very small percentage of very loud people. Amazing Air Show says trust is gone. Well, trust needs to be earned. Okay, but trust, let's talk about trust for a minute. In my opinion, in my perspective, in my philosophy of life, everybody's allowed to make a mistake. Everybody's allowed to make several mistakes. What's gone is benefit of the doubt. What's gone is giving a company or a person the benefit of the doubt. That's what we used to do. Now, if you misspeak, if you make a mistake, you're the devil with malice and intent that you did on purpose and the intent to harm me. Until you prove otherwise, we've got trust issues. No, we don't. You do. I don't have any trust issues. I still give people and companies the benefit of the doubt. When AceMagic had that malware, which wasn't a virus and it was all blown out of proportion, they didn't do that on purpose. It was a mistake. And the mistake was made by choosing a bad contractor. They didn't even do it. They should have had better quality control and caught it before their customers did. And they know that now. Okay? So if they make the same mistake again, that's different. And for all the talk of people talking about peace and of people talking about forgiveness, I don't see it practiced anymore. Corporations are letting people go over Twitter posts instead of setting an example of, hey, that Twitter post was 10 years ago. You know what? The person apologizes for it. I was a different person 10 years ago. I've grown since then. I hope so. It's 10 years ago. You know, when I, as a teenager in the 1980s, nothing I did was filmed. Okay. We got away with all kinds of stuff in the 70s and 80s. The world wasn't watching us. These kids today that think they're living in utopia, the 80s were so much better, so much better. We had so much more freedom. You can't go back to the 80s and find anything about me because it's not there. But if you're a teenager in the 2000s, that stuff can follow you for life. And it's going to become more important than ever if we want to succeed as a society that we understand forgiveness and we lead by example instead of assuming that person is the same person today and has not grown or changed and has only gotten worse. If you keep treating somebody that way, you're giving them a reason to live up to your expectations. And if you forgive them, and if you say, hey, it's in the past, let it go, you're giving them a reason to do better if they hadn't already had it, which they probably already did. But even more so, you're inspiring them to keep that respect and to not lose it again. If they do it again, all bets off the table now, okay? That's the problem from a Gen Xer, is the judgment. Don't you dare judge me, but I'm going to judge you. Don't you dare behave in a way that I'm going to behave. There's all this talk of what people expect others to do, but they don't do it themselves. And it's got to go the other way around. Shut up about it, just do it. Don't talk about it, just show. Lead. And people will follow without you saying a word. Is it going to happen? I don't know. I hope it does. I hope we evolve. I hope we get past this, because then will we become a much better, stronger community, and we'll be helping each other out instead of taking, there'll be less scamming and more looking out for each other. And that's what we had when I grew up as a teenager. You could go to a stranger's house for help and you wouldn't get shot at the door. There was what they called the 4-H club, where people put these little 4-H cards in the window that let kids know that if you, for any reason, maybe you're lost, you need some help, if somebody's got that card in their window, you knock on their door. You're not assuming somebody put the card in the window because they're a predator. And I never heard any stories of that happening. But we also didn't have 24-hour news cycles where they just cram in any information because they have to fill the airtime with something. And so every day you're crammed with more negativity and more negativity and more negativity because it's a business model. If you're buying what they're selling, I don't know what to tell you. They're just going to keep selling it to you. So I realize that is off topic, but I do strongly philosophically believe that we have to live the life we want to see, the lifestyle that we want to see around us. It doesn't matter what other people are doing. You do you, and you live by your morals and your ethics. Don't justify going beneath your own values because that's what everybody else is doing. That's not making anything any better. And don't worry about it if other people's behavior is below your values. They have the right to do that, but that's their own punishment. Let them punish themselves. But just because they're punishing themselves doesn't mean you should. Not in my opinion. Follow your moral compass regardless of the world around you. Do what's right. We can argue a lot about facts, well, I guess not facts, about perspectives and attitudes. But at the end of the day, I need to be able to sleep. I will toss and turn if I can't sleep and something's just rolling around in my head. But if I know I gave it the best I could between right and wrong, it's just not something I learned in school, right? There's just right and wrong, and you know it or you don't. And as much as it's my ability, I will do it right, or I won't do it at all. That's it. If I feel like this is the wrong thing to do, I just won't do it. That's it. That's what works for me. I don't know if you find that information helpful. Not telling you what to do, telling you what I do. I found it much easier to get through life with that attitude than the way I was doing it. That was a long time ago, and still wished I had learned it earlier. Greg Hutchinson with a $10 super chat says, thanks again, Carrie. Well, thank you, Greg. Scooter says, remember when Lenovo shipped a ton of machines with adware and spyware? Yes, so did Sony, Samsung televisions. I mean, it goes on and on and on. Greg said he was a teenager in the 1970s, and I'm making a good point. Scott says once it's on the internet, it's there forever. It's true. Mecca Cameron said Intel's been around for ages. They can't make a few mistakes. You know what? Exactly. It's par for the course. If they're not making mistakes, then their progress is playing it safe, and we're not getting the best we can get. And some of these decisions were bad decisions, but they know that now, so hopefully we don't see any repetition of the same bad decisions. We see other bad decisions that are unrelated. That's progress. Yeah, it's not a perfect world. As long as the intent was that they were trying to put out a good product that was obviously going to help their reputation, not hurt it. Why would they put something out to hurt their reputation? Why would any company that wants to stay in business knowingly and willfully do that? And it's important to know the difference. It's important to understand the intention, not the action. What was the intention of the action? Sometimes people pull a prank, like in Halloween. They'll be in like a scarecrow costume, sitting on a patio chair, and people think it's a dummy. They walk up to the door, and then the person moves and scares them. And if you look on the internet, you'll see some people react by punching it in the face. They didn't understand the intention. The intention was very clearly a threat, and their reaction to defend themselves was quite justified. The person punching didn't come up to the porch thinking, I'm going to punch that scarecrow. And the scarecrow, they just wanted to have some fun and pull a prank. Well, you're going to pull a prank. People misunderstand your intention at first, accept your consequences, and that doesn't make the other person who reacted a bad person because of how they reacted. It was instinct. That's how they reacted. You got what was coming. Not so funny now, is it, if you're the scarecrow? It's all about intent. Sometimes intent is very clear, sometimes intent is very muddy. So before I can prove bad intent, I assume good. Give me a reason. You don't have that reason, it's good. That's my default. Amazing Airshow video says the bad decision was that they knew there was a problem with the CPU from the large amount of data center replacements they were shipping out and did not notify the customer base that there was an issue. So what position did you work at Intel? Where did you get this insider? And are you just taking something you read online? Because it sounds like you act like you were there. I have a feeling you weren't there. You don't have a clue about the complexities of what you're describing. And because you don't, you're oversimplifying what actually happened. So we'll agree to disagree. Because I worked at Intel, and I know how complex it is. And I know that there are measurements and benchmarks that you have to hit when you work there if you want to keep your job. And I know that the company needs to stay in business to answer to shareholders. And I know that anybody who's ever worked there would never say what you said. I just know that. You've never worked there. You have taken a bias that you choose to see, and you have Googled and researched it to meet your echo chamber. Because the reality is, no company would realistically do that because it would cost them too much money. And that's not a sustainable business model. No one in their right mind operating at the level of an Intel employee that requires a 4-year college degree is that simple-minded. The world doesn't work that way. That is an oversimplification, and I'm just being honest. This is not a criticism to you, but you are biased. And I'm just telling you, there is a much more complex problem here that you're just looking at the surface of. And that is just, to me, a simple lack of it's just a lack of respect. That all these people are morons, but you're the guy who knows how to fix it. No, 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 no. You need to work with these people, and you need to understand the level of intelligence that these employees have to even get hired. And you also have to understand their benchmarks that they are measured by and the timeline within they have to do it. And you have to understand the investor strategy. You have to understand the technical strategy of the foundries. Holy mackerel, this is such a complex industry that Intel is in. The world is not as simple as you've painted it. And if you want to see it that way, you have that right. But if you think you're going to convince me that it was just a black and white issue, it wasn't. Because if it was, I promise you, they already thought of that long before you came to that conclusion. These people are very smart people. And the only one who would think otherwise is somebody who's never worked there. But yes, if that's the position you want to take, you can Google that and fuel that all day long. I can't stop you, and there's nothing illegal about it. But why would you put yourself in that mental state? And you know, maybe computers aren't right for you. If the way the industry works is beyond your ability to comprehend or your willingness to comprehend, and you're not willing to go work there and educate yourself and how complex this is, maybe it's just not the right thing for you. It's not a good fit. Maybe you're better off with something else that more aligns with the way you see the world. Because I promise you, it's just not the way it works. The world is not that simple. At least from my experience personally. Wow, that was so oversimplified. All right, but you're entitled to your opinion. You're welcome to it. That's fine. So they are continuing on. They won't let it go. There's your first warning, by the way, when you're with somebody who disagrees on the internet. I'm not here to convince you. You're not somebody of any influence or power whose opinion really matters. It doesn't matter. I think I'll just tell you I agree with you because that's what you want to hear, and you won't stop until I say that. So for the sake of giving you what you want, which is not the truth, you want to hear somebody agree with you. So now I'm just going to tell you, I agree with you, so you'll stop. And that's how you end that, because otherwise it's baiting, and it's somebody who absolutely refuses to consider another point of view without any experience, influence, or identifying themselves as an expert in the industry. They're right. Okay, when we're done, I agree with you. Okay, now you're happy? Let's move on. What else do we have? Ghostly Lurker mentions AMD has been blowing up boardrooms currently with processors frying on ASRock motherboard. Okay, yeah, exactly. Yeah, nobody's immune from this, and people just have. I mean, I understand the point you're making, Ghostly Lurker. We see what we want to see, right? AMD's having basically the same problem. But it's at a different scale. All right, what are there other questions? Has this finally finished? Because I was going to go back to this and check for more updates. I want to see if 24H2 gets offered to us automatically. So let me go full screen over here, and let's find out now. We go back to Windows Update. Will we see 24H2? Retry. And we're going to wait. And yeah, Windows 11 24H2 is being offered and downloaded right now. So again, nothing special we have to do other than wait, right? We execute the command. This will happen in the background over time. but I strongly recommend you do it right out of the gate, get it out of the way. Plan to spend half your day just doing updates. Then, after all your updates, if everything's still working good, then put your email, put it on your printer, then start customizing it to the way you like it. And hopefully when it's all said and done, you'll make an image backup so you'll never, ever, ever have to do that again. All right, let's go back over to camera 1. And again, if you have any technical questions or computer-related questions, I'll do my best to answer it to the best of my ability. But it may not be what you want to hear, okay? Because that's not what I'm here to do. We certainly love having you here. We enjoy the community more than you can possibly imagine. And we're not always going to agree, and that's okay too. Dorado Systems with $49.99 Romanian. This is modern men, kind behavior. We gossip more than women. What a politically incorrect thing to say, but yes, that was the expression in the 1950s, 60s, right up until the women's liberation movement. Most women were stay-at-home mothers, did not have a job, and so they would fill their time talking to other women staying at home, talking about, did you hear about this, and this person did that. And the men going to work would talk about how their wives were sitting at home all day gossiping. That's not true anymore today. It hasn't been true for a long time. But back then, that's, you know, for the younger crowd, that's how that came to be a thing. I haven't heard that in a long time. I personally wouldn't mind being a stay-at-home husband and gossiping. That's all I had to do. Keep the house clean. I'm okay with that. But apparently people find that insulting. So yeah. I'm okay with it. David Graham said he's got the Oversight Direct Mini PC that I believe we sent him. He says it's still running great. I'm loving it. It pairs great with my gaming PC as a support PC for information. Right on. I appreciate the follow-up. I think that was the only one from that manufacturer we've ever reviewed, with the potential, you know, to review more of them. And I just think we haven't communicated, or maybe they went away. I have no idea whatever happened with Oversight, or however their name is pronounced. Mortant said, whatever it's worth, I like you just the way you are. Straight and no chaser. Back at you, Mortant. Thank you. Do I have any recommendations for a portable mouse and keyboard? Well, the problem where we get to recommendations and things about subjective opinion is what I like in a keyboard and what you like in a keyboard are probably very different things. It's like recommending a book or recommending a meal or recommending a movie. I loved The Electric State. I think it's the best movie I've seen in 2025. So do you want to take movie advice from me? When it comes to how good do a set of headphones or speakers sound, it depends on what you define as good and what you hear. You might hear things I don't hear. Is this a good TV? I don't know. How does it look? Does it look good to you? Do you like the price and the warranty? Well, what do you like? Does it matter? I think you should buy what you're looking for, to whatever meets your needs. If you like the feel of the keyboard, if you like the material of the keyboard, if you like the feel of the keys, the battery life, how it charges, if it's a full-size keyboard or a 60% keyboard. I have a small desk. The only reason I use this stuff is because it's a little desk. I need something small. Some people might say you could get the little trackpad and the little keyboard. Yeah, I'm not using that. But people do. You get a trackball. Some people use no. This keypad, the main keypad, keyboard has no keypad. Then it would be this long. I don't have that much room. This isn't what I wanted. It's what I needed. So for you, you're going to have to decide based on your values what you value in price, warranty, weight, key fill, battery life, all of that. There's no right answer here. So you're welcome to tell us what you like. You know, if you find a keyboard and mouse you like, be sure and share it with us. But we can't tell you what you're going to like. Nobody can. So unfortunately, I don't have any recommendation for you. So again, I'll do my best to answer your questions honestly to the ability that I have. Some questions I can't answer. I don't think some questions anybody can answer but you. And it's not a big investment to buy a keyboard and a mouse. Try them, find ones you like. Becca Cameron said, a brick and mortar Walmart in my town doesn't have any mini PCs in stock, ever. Walmart sells mini PCs? I've never seen a mini PC in a store, never. I've always ordered everything in that regard online. I go to Walmart to get groceries. I'll go to Target to get groceries. I order clothes online. I order pretty much everything online. I won't get like heavy things. It's cheaper for me to go to the store and get bottles of water than it is to order online. When we're renovating, it's cheaper for me to go get a gallon of paint at the local home improvement store or to buy 2,000 pounds of flooring and have it, you know, load it in the car and bring it home versus trying to order that online and hoping it arrives without damage. But I ordered a new shelving unit this morning. It's going to be behind me. I don't have it yet. I could get in the car and drive to Costco, pick this heavy thing up, load it in the car, drive it home and unload it. Or for the exact same price, I opened my phone, I said, give me that shelf. I'm going to pay the same amount of money for it, and it's going to show up here next week. I don't have to lift a finger. So even if I could go pick it up, I won't. And that's an exception of buying something heavy, where it's actually the same exact price than me doing all the labor moving it around. And it's a great way to tear the weather stripping and stuff if you're trying to get into a trunk and you're dragging it and the weather stripping tears. You just paid a lot more for that than you think you paid because you damaged your car. So let them deliver it. They're better equipped for it. And it's costing me exactly the same price. The only difference is I could go get it today. I don't need it today. They can deliver it next week. I don't care. When I get it, I'll put it together. I'll put it behind me and you'll start seeing the set get developed. But for the most part, I am ordering, I'd say 90% of everything online. And probably 98% of that is all Amazon. Books, electronics, vitamins. I ordered a bag of chips from Michigan. I can't get them locally. Nobody sells them here. That'll be here tomorrow. Stuff like that. I just universally one-stop shopping. I go there, they get it. I needed some anchors to hang some stuff on the wall. Just go on Amazon. Everything. I don't have to get in the car, find a parking spot, find the aisle, hope it's in stock, find somebody to help me if it isn't, wait in line to check out, get back to the car, find out the car next to me parked this far away and I'm trying to squeeze back into my car, looking for any damage to my car while I was in the store, being approached by somebody asking me for money while I'm walking in the parking lot. I just want to stay in the house. Can you blame me? Becca Cameron says they have laptops and desktops in the store. Yeah, I typically see laptops and desktops at Best Buy and Walmart and Target. That's pretty common. I've never seen a mini PC at any of those stores. But then I don't go there very often, do I? So what do I know? I get a lot more variety, much better pricing, instant customer satisfaction, and I don't have to leave the house by going to Amazon. There's more mini PC variation to choose from with different specs and prices than you can shake a stick at. You're not going to find that in any brick and mortar store. Patrick T said he ordered a new PC desk back in July of 24 and decided to order it from Amazon. That way it would be delivered. And he had no other way to bring it home. It's so heavy, he says, it came via Amazon freight truck. Yeah, sure. Poorly Boy says, I accidentally changed my display settings in Windows 10 and now it only loads part of the startup screen and then it goes black. Any idea how to get the display back? Well, if you have a television that you could temporarily plug into the computer, that could probably, it's a synchronization issue with your monitor, by the way. Mark Gaines says you can probably right-click on your desktop and look for display settings. Well, not if he's not getting a display, like if it's just going black. But he could if he plugged into like a television or something temporarily. That likely would work. Doman 2000 said you can get into safe mode to set the display back to basic VGA, reset the display, but he doesn't really say how. Let's try something. Let's Google this. After changing display mode, Windows 10, black screen. A black screen after changing the display mode in Windows 10 is often caused by incompatible display settings or issue with the graphics driver. To resolve this, try using a keyboard shortcut, rolling back drivers, or booting into safe mode. Press the Windows key plus Control plus Shift plus B to reset the graphics driver. That's a thing. Windows key, Control key, Shift key, and the letter B as in basic. Let's try that. What does it do? Let me come over here. Let's go over to this computer. Let's just see what happens. Control, it was Windows, Control, Shift, B. Whoa! Wow, there you go. Hold down Windows, hold down Control, hold down Shift, then press and release the letter B. That's definitely doing something. That's pretty darn cool. I did not know that. I hope that's the answer to your question. Thank you, Google. Control, Shift, Windows key, press the release B. Super easy. I like it. Morton said that's new to me. We all learned something today, didn't we? Appreciate the question. Hopefully it fixes it. Let us know. Will there be a Windows 11 optimizer? I intend for there to be one after Windows 10 support ends. I don't want any overlapping of my optimizers. So give us another 6 months and I'll have more information. Don't expect anything before that. Because I'm not. Just put it that way. Steve Chappelle said, I have an old laptop keyboard and it stopped working. I think the BIOS is the problem. I don't know how a BIOS affects a keyboard, but anything's possible. The thing about laptops is you could often just plug in a USB keyboard, even a wireless one, or you can use a Bluetooth keyboard, usually, which is a lot cheaper than fixing the keyboard. I'm not aware of a BIOS setting that can affect your keyboard, but you never know. Possible. Steve Chappelle says corrupt BIOS. Still, what would make a BIOS go corrupt? Again, if you want to use your imagination to just dream up situations, I guess, but if you have any evidence to suggest that would imply the direction of BIOS, I'd love to hear what the actual evidence is rather than the conclusion. Because I'm not sure I agree with the conclusion. Not that it matters, but for whatever it's worth, it just doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know how those two things are related. Doesn't mean they're not related. I just don't know. There's some information either you're concluding with your imagination or you're not sharing with me. It's one or the other. Mortant wants to know if an external keyboard even works on that laptop. Fair question. I would say if the laptop doesn't work with an external keyboard, you have a main board problem well beyond the BIOS. But again, now I'm using my imagination. Adventures with Steven said, how are you liking the new studio? Well, it's just a lot of work. There's just so much to do. It's overwhelming. Now, when it's done, ask me again. But for right now, what I like about it is it's stable. Studio B was never stable from day one. We always knew it would be temporary. We knew there was a possibility it could become permanent, but it likely wasn't going to happen. And we played it day by day. Now we're in a stable place that isn't going anywhere, guaranteed, but it needs so much to be done that on top of doing everything else I've got to do throughout the day, this is one more thing, and I'm the only one who can do it. So I just don't have the luxury of time to make it the way I want it. But if I do a little bit now and again when I'm in the mood, it will get there, and I will finally be happy with it. But it's still in the process. It's like, what do you think of that cake that you made? It's still cooking. I like the taste of the batter. I like how it's cooking, but it's going to be a while before it's ready to be pulled from the oven. When that happens, I'll let you know. But I'm not just throwing it out or giving up on it. I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing it done. But we're not there yet. We've got a long, I have a lot of labor ahead of me. And it's a worthwhile investment for me to make into my own studio. But I have to balance that with all my other responsibilities. And it's a lot. So we will get there. And when we get there, I'll be very, very, very happy. I just don't know when we're going to get there. That's all right. We're not on a clock. It'll happen when it happens. Again, we'll have our friend Doug Betts scheduled to join us Tuesday. Doug with live Windows Training with Doug Betts YouTube channel will join us over a live feed, and we'll share some stories. We'll take your questions, and we hope you'll join us for that. Tomorrow is our members only videos. Those are for the people that support us. We make videos just for them. If you become a supporter, your name will turn in green, and you help keep us free from any sponsorships. Well, we can continue to find good deals for you, like this AceMagic that was a good deal, or the Windows and Office license keys that are still a good deal. Understand the reason behind that. We do make a small commission if you use our links on Amazon. So if this sells for $111, I think Amazon pays us 82 cents. So we're obviously not doing this for the money. We're doing this for the community. And if you're looking for commercials, that's pretty much what all the other YouTube tech channels do, is not all of them, but a lot of them. The bigger they are, the more likely at least a certain percentage of the videos they make are commercial. And that's okay if that's what they want to do. I'm not criticizing their choices. It's not what I want to do. That's all I'm saying. And so all those members in green that support us, those super chats, that's how we're able to keep our independence and our freedom to review what we want to review, to buy things we want to review, so we're not beholden to any corporation. We don't have to worry about upsetting them when they won't send us any more product. No, we just buy the product like you would, spend our money no differently than you would, evaluate it like you would, and then you can decide, based on the open and honest and transparent review that is live and unscripted with no bias, if that's of value to you. It doesn't matter to us one way or the other, except that we hope we're making content you're interested in or that you enjoy. That's it. That's all we're trying to do. Well, introducing you to what I think are promising considerations to improve our lives, right? Whether it's very inexpensive Windows 11 computer, a router, whatever it is. And if there's something you'd like me to review, remember, we have a very limited budget to work within. If we can afford it, or you want to send it to us and you pay for it, we're happy to give it a look. But working within our budget and with your recommendations, we will gladly accommodate it if we can. Otherwise, we just keep moving forward based on my personal interests and what I think the audience wants to see, and hope I'm right, I guess, that that's the content you want. So don't be shy about telling us what you'd like to see, and then I'll tell you if we can afford it or not. That's usually our barrier to entry. Someone's like, I'd love to see you review this $12,000 computer. Hey, I'd love to review it too. How do we get one? You know, that's the problem. But other things like this was $100. Yeah, that's no problem. So if you see other great deals or you think they might be a great deal, please bring it to my attention. Leave it in the comments below the video. I don't know everything on sale at any given time. You might find something that I'm going to buy and say, hey, I want to make everybody aware of this deal. Or it might not. But certainly doesn't hurt to let us know. Philippe wants to know, how do you get back to apps after booting up an old hard drive with Windows operating system? I went back to the onboard operating system, which is Windows 10, but some of the Microsoft apps stopped working and I can't reinstall them. What apps stopped working and why can you not reinstall them? I need that information or I can't. Apps are not all the same, so I have to know which app and I need to know what the issue with the reinstall is. Maximus says, I saw your video on the Minis Forum UM760 Slim. I then saw it on sale at Amazon and I bought one for myself and I'm using it right now. That's cool. That's cool. That's the whole point, right? I'm trying to save you some money, get you a deal. And I hope you used our link to buy it, but if you didn't, it's not like we're not getting rich off of that. We make a couple of bucks off the commission, but that's icing on the cake. What's more important to me is you saw value in that. You were introduced to something that you didn't know existed. You found it at a price you thought was a really good value. You purchased it, now you're happy with it. Mission accomplished. Right on. Appreciate the feedback. So I'm not doing this for nothing. I mean, if you don't tell me, how would I know? Thank you for telling me. He says, yeah, bro, thanks for that in-depth video on the UM760 Slim. Well, you got it. I appreciate that. You get what I'm doing? Not everybody does. Clearly, everybody in green does. Sometimes I get comments the videos are too long, but those people don't want to learn. They just want a commercial. And we'll go back around in a circle to me talking about commercials again. But it says it's a review. It's a commercial. They were paid to make it. If they were paid to make it, it's not a review. That's all I'm trying to say. Maximus says, I saw the value in that, especially with your Windows 10 optimizer. Right on. Yeah, we never intended to sell the Windows 10 optimizer. I made that for me. And people watching go, hey, would you sell me that? That's how that even happened. It was never a business plan. It just fell into place. And Nick over at D7X Tech, he's a great developer. It's an honor to work with him. He's very good at what he does. Anything less, I wouldn't even put my name on it or associate myself with it. All right, it's about 3:30 here. I think we're going to wrap it up for today. We probably still have Windows 11 24H2 installing over here, but let me just take a quick look. And again, if you have any last questions, this is it. This is your time to ask if you've been holding it back. And yeah, this is going to take a little while to install, and that's to be expected. It's fine. Just get it done and out of the way. Like I said, when you get a brand new computer, regardless of what it is, plan on spending a few hours to get it updated and then start installing and customizing after that if everything's still okay. Best advice I can give you. Once you get it installed and customized the way you like it, make your system image backup and you will never, ever have to do that again for that computer. Done. Worst case scenario, you just restore your backup image, and all of the work you did goes right back to how it was on the day you made the backup. If it was 3 months ago, you go back in time 3 months. It's just like going back in time. Puts it all right back. It's much faster than doing it all by hand ever again and waiting for the updates all over again. Just restore the backup. And hopefully you'll never need that backup. It's a Murphy's Law. Those who have it probably don't need it, and those who don't make it are the ones who usually need it. Or at least those are the ones I hear from, right? So that's the impression I get. So if you want to make sure you don't need a backup, make a backup. Most people's logic is the other way around. I'm about to do something, I better back it up first. No, you've waited too long. Now you're late. I don't need a backup. Well, then you better make a backup. That way you can continue to not need it. I don't need a backup, so I'm not going to make my backup. Oh, you're going to need that backup soon, trust me. It's just how it works, man. It's just how it works. All right, I think that's going to wrap it up. Dustin Fuller says, great stream as always. Thank you, Dustin. John Williams says, thank you for the live stream. Thank you, John. Thanks for hanging out with us. Bajin Guy says, I'm going to rewatch this later. Cool. It'll be available for you to watch at your convenience after YouTube is finishing processing it. You'll notice when the processing is done, because when you play it back, the chat will come back. So it might play back immediately without the live chat, because YouTube will spend the next few hours, especially a long 4K video. It could take up to 24 hours before it comes in full resolution with the live chat. So if you're not seeing the live chat on the playback within 24 hours, it's likely because YouTube's still processing the live video. This is an issue on uploaded videos. This is a live video situation. That's how it works. And finally, wanted to check emails real quick. No, nothing's an email. We're cool. Right on. I want to thank everybody who's contributed during today's live show. Of course, all of our members in green. Without those folks in green, you wouldn't have this video to watch. I want to thank all of your interactions, whether we agree or disagree and we don't see eye to eye. I still appreciate interacting with you. You're not going to get that from most YouTube channels. You're definitely not getting it from radio or TV. I guess you could keep calling and hope you get through. This is so much better. Contributions. I want to say a thank you once again for all those super chats that came in today. Our friend Buster, of course, Peter Lightcock, as he's known in the chat. Thank you to Jason Lewis, Planet Cryos, who's now been a member for 35 months. That is so cool. Thank you, Jason, who also contributed $5 twice, as we were talking about his frustration in being a content creator. I feel your pain, man, I do. Dorado Systems, thank you for the question, the interaction, the contributions, joining us there from Romania. Greg Hitchinson, thank you for your contribution in Super Chat as well. Again, you guys make these videos happen. Otherwise, we just become a mouthpiece for some corporation, or we don't do it at all. Those are our three options, and you guys are making my first option, the one I really want, possible. But I can't thank you enough for that. And I hope you're getting what you want in return. Otherwise, let me know. If it's something I can do, or you have an idea, the least you can do is tell me. Thank you again for watching. Thanks to Mara for all the work she does in the background, especially that last minute change, switching us over to the review on this. Now, we can open this up, but I'm telling you, there's really nothing to service in here. There's a little 2242 M.2 you could switch out. And I'm telling you, you think that's a good idea? This isn't for you. I am strongly advising you, leave it closed. If it's not enough for you, don't buy it. Buy something better suited. It'll just be a much better experience if you don't have to mess with it. That's my advice. Take it or leave it. If you see these go on sale again, or if I see it go on sale, I'll let you know. We paid $112 for this. At its current price, I'm not recommending it at that price, but I am recommending it when the price drops. Okay, so that's one of those situations. And I knew that was going to happen when I ordered it. I knew it, and it's exactly what happened. Drives me crazy. But I think maybe we'll also do a comparison when one of these goes back on sale. We'll put them side by side, and we'll just kind of do a budget entry level. These are the two minimum machines I recommend given a certain price point. Again, depending on the tariff situation and how that affects pricing, hopefully it'll come back down sooner rather than later. So that eventually will be another video. Monday, members only. Tuesday, Doug Betts. And Friday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I'll get back to what we were going to do today, which was that big multimedia PC, or the HT PC that Mitch and I built it. And it's really in the way. And we built it and we never really finished it. It's been sitting off to the side. It functions, but it's not done. And we're going to revisit that. We have a couple other older machines here. I think it's time to revisit them. So we have that content to produce if we don't have anything new to review and there's no news to talk about. We go back and revisit some of these older builds you might have missed, or you're wondering what's their status today, including the Xenos build. It's been a while since you've seen it, and it's sitting right there. I don't know if you can see it. It's underneath this box. And yeah, we fire it up. And that still has a side panel off of it because technically it's not done either. When I get the shelving unit in, I'm hoping to put these really nice showpieces behind me. Thank you again for hanging out. Remember, SCD keys, our coupon codes, can save you 30% off. And if you have any issues with that, you reach out to us. We'll reach out to them first. They'll likely, first of all, you're not likely going to have any issues. But if you do, let them know. They'll likely solve it. And if they don't, then the third option is reach out to me, and no matter what, the buck stops with me. Peace of mind. 100% peace of mind that if I'm recommending or endorsing something, I'm personally standing behind it. And SCD keys, Acronis, RoboForm, Instant House Call, I proudly stand behind those. These products I'm reviewing, I'm telling you, these are good quality products. Do they live up to your expectation? You have to decide that. I can't. But at least if you buy from Amazon, you have your 30-day return period, so no risk. That's the bottom line here. I'm not just here saying buy this, buy it or don't, okay? But I want you to know that if you don't like it, you can always return it. You have peace of mind here. If I'm talking about it, that's the difference. You can expect that from me every single time. You may not get that kind of a guarantee anywhere else. Thank you for watching. I will see all the members tomorrow. A shout out and a thank you, of course, to our friend Buster, our friend Frankie B, and Mortant and Charlie Purdy, and oh my gosh, so many of you that have been so generous this last week. I can't thank you enough for it. I apologize for leaving anybody out. And I promise Mark Gaines, see, I just left somebody out I shouldn't have, and probably many others. And I apologize, I'm not doing it on purpose. It's just what's on the top of my head. And I just wanted to give you those extra thank yous because I really appreciate you guys. Until next time, bye for now.